Hi guys, Sandra here from Creating Spain. Forgive me if I sound a little hoarse. I've got a touch of hay fever and it's playing havoc with my voice. Okay, so I have some products here that I've had for a while and I thought I would have a further play with them. Now they are not craft products, they are makeup products, but they are makeup products I bought for crafting because I wouldn't wear this anyway. The two in here, in little jam pots, as it happens, are in these jam pots because they come in a tiny little bottle with a brush. They're loose powder eyeshadows, but it wasn't very easy to actually get them out of the containers, so I emptied the containers out into these pots. This one is actually a silver one. I know it looks blue from the outside, but it is silver. And this one is actually a blue, but it looks as though it is white. There we go. It's got a vague sort of pearlescent type look to it. These are all powders that have mica in them. Now these are Revolution highlighters of different sorts. This one is called Strobe Highlighter. And this one has a very green tinge to it. I'll put this on the back of my hand. I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but in daylight it definitely has a green tinge. This one is Peach Lights, and this one has a pinky colour to it, as you might guess from the name. Okay. This one is called Golden Lights, and yes, that does have yellowy gold tones to it. There we go. And the last one we have is Prism, which is just supposed to be a light reflective powder, I think. I don't think it's supposed to be a particular colour, but again, it tends to look a bit pinky peachy. So that's what I have. Now, I've used these before on various things and they are quite fun, but I thought I would see if I was using them to the full potential, which I probably wasn't. So I thought I would have a play, and I spent a good hour or so playing last night and came up with some interesting things. Now what I did first of all was I lined them up so I could do colour swatches and know that I was going to be doing them all in the same order. Got a piece of white card here. Silver, blue, green, pink and yellow. I wasn't playing with this one at the time, so that one was out of the way. And all I did was I got a round stamp and I stamped some ink colours. So I got a yellow one, a blue one and a red one. And then I took a smaller version of the same stamp and I stamped over that with Versamark so that it would be sticky. And then I brushed the colours according to the line that they were in, well, rough lines. So the first one here was coated with the silver, the second one with the blue, then we have the green, the pink and the yellow. And I don't know if you can actually see too well on this, but I've got some interesting colour results. Now, as you might guess, if you put blue over red, you get a mauvey sort of colour. It's very, very pretty. Put the blue over blue and it just intensifies the blue. The blue over the yellow, strangely enough, doesn't seem to do an awful lot. You'd expect it to go bright green, but it didn't. The silver ones just added a glow. Forget this one, this was a sample of the Prism, that's all that one was. And I tested each one with the different colours to see what the results was. And it's pretty good actually, it's not bad at all. And just going over it with Versamark and then popping the powder on with a brush, it covered it pretty well and you get some quite nice effects. So all very well and good. If you have a picture that you have coloured in with alcohol markers, whatever it may be, and you then put a colour or a powder I should say, one of these types of mica powders over the top. Depending on the tint of the mica powder depends what result you'll get. So that was on white. And I thought, well, I wonder how it would fare on grey. So I did a very similar thing. And that's the result on the grey. Now if you compare the two, I think it's probably a little easier to see on the grey than it is on the white. And you would think that it would be easier again to see the results if I did this on black. And here we have, ignore these, here we have my black samples. And in this particular case I did put the ink on underneath, but because it's a water-based ink it really doesn't do an awful lot on black paper, and I wouldn't expect it to, but just to make sure there was no differences, that's what I did. And so you can see that you've got these colours showing up much more strongly on black than you do on the white. So if you're just going to use it on a black card, then you're going to get much stronger effect. Then I thought, well, this is fine for iridescent, but this isn't what I really wanted to play with, which is chameleon colours. You ever seen those cars that go along the road and they seem to change colour according to the light? That's a chameleon colour. And they're called chameleon colours because, like chameleons, they can change colour. They're not one solid colour, they flash different colours. So I wondered what would happen. Ignore this bit, this is a different type of test. Look at this row here, ignore the blue spot, that was just something else I tried out. Can you see, and I don't know if you can in this light, but here I have got proper chameleon colours. And the way that I got them was a little unusual. Okay, so what I did, and I did some on the back of here that you might be able to see more easily the chameleon effect. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. It's really difficult to try and judge this. You just have to take my word for it. And I have another version which you might be able to make out a bit better down here. So what I did was I took one colour of these, makes very little difference which one it is, really truly, and I stamped out some Versamark ink circles, and then I just went over it with a brush and whichever powder it was I started off with. And then I chose different powders to go over the top. I didn't stamp it again, it was just stamped with the Versamark just the once. But I went over it again with a different colour, and what has happened is that this one here, which looks, I mean, they all look sort of vaguely grey as a surface colour, silvery grey. When I turn it in the light, this one is going blue, this one is going yellow, and this one is going pinky shade. This one is a slightly greeny shade. So it would appear that if you put one over the other, you can alter it and make it proper chameleon effect. With these, having done the same thing, I've got pink and purple there, I've got green and blue there, I've got blue and yellow there, I've got green and gold, and I've got pink and purple there. And in normal lighting conditions or bright light, they are definitely chameleon colours. So my first thought when I had these powders out was that, okay, maybe if I mix one powder with another powder and then apply it, I will get the chameleon effect. That doesn't work. It has to be one layer upon the other layer. If you mix the two colours together, you'll just get the variation. So if you're mixing the blue and the pink, you get a mauve. If you're mixing the green and the yellow, you'll get a yellow-green. If you're mixing the green and the blue, you'll get green. You follow the reasoning there. But applying them one layer over the other seems to have the effect of the chameleon paint, which is rather an interesting thought. So that's what I've come up with for my experimentation, and all very interesting. Now, another way that you can apply these chameleon shades, if you like, and I did a quick swatch here, but I didn't wait for it to dry. What I did was I just got some clear gloss acrylic varnish, and I dipped a brush into one of the powders and then just mixed it in with the varnish. We are talking very, very little pigment here. And then I painted a swatch on the black. Theoretically, I should have waited for it to dry properly, which I was too impatient. It was just before lunch and I didn't. And then I did the same thing with a different colour. And again, I've got green topped with blue, and it flashes between the two of them. Now, you might think that if you added more of these powders to your varnish, your acrylic, your medium, whatever it is you're using, the stronger the effect will be. Actually, the reverse is true. You want it to be very dilute, because if it isn't, one pigment will block the other and you won't get the result that you're looking for. So it was literally, just a tiniest amount of the powder in with the acrylic gloss, and that did the trick. So that's that. But I do have a little freebie for you. I was playing, I'm going to put this over some paper so you can actually see it. There we go. Can you see that now? I was playing and I decided to make a stencil design, so I will give you the link to that below. In fact, there are 3 different versions of this particular stencil. Okay, that's it. I'll put an end card up with some other videos you might like. Hope to see you again soon.